Hello, I'm Paul Dijak. Right now I would like to introduce you to something I call Project ElasticSteel. What this is, it's a routine that I've been using myself for many years, and a lot of my family members, friends, and students have been using it as well. Today I'm going to show it to you, and I'm going to make it as easy as possible. I'm not going to make it look easy, I'm actually going to make it easy. I'm going to make it as easy as it can ever get. This way anybody can do it. It's not going to look impressive, it's not going to have the wow factor, it's just going to be a very basic way of doing it. Okay, now this routine goes from being very easy to being extremely difficult, and then there's a long ladder in between, and you can have 10 people standing next to each other performing this routine. What's going to happen is you can have a 90-year-old person and somebody who is very tired or very sick or recovering from disease or never worked out, or just somebody who is old, doing it right next to the other person who is in great shape, and both of them can benefit from this routine. They can be doing the same exercises, the same routine, they're just going to be using different level of it, and I'm going to show you the most basic level. Now, if you're an ElasticSteel practitioner, you can do it, of course, at this level. You can try it to build it up to high levels, and I'm going to try to show different routines and different variations of it, at least Monday and Friday. Okay, so you can try to do that. But for most of you, this is something that your parents would do, your grandparents would do. If you know someone who got over an illness or an injury, they can try this. Okay, so I'm going to show everything in a very basic, very beginner's form. Okay, where very little strength is required, very little flexibility, very little balance. Okay, so we're going to start the routine. We're going to start with a joint warm-up. After the joint warm-up, we're going to do a very light warm-up, and then after that, we're going to do 2 sets of stances, a little bit of upper body exercises, and 2 types of stretches. Okay, so we start with the joint warm-up. The joint warm-up is always the same. We do the wrist circles. Okay, depending on how warmed up you are, what conditions your joints are in, temperature outside, you may do 5-10 circles. You may need maybe even 20 circles in each direction. Okay, so we did the wrist, doing the elbows. Into the arms. Notice everything I do is in range of motion of someone who's just starting out, someone who does not have a lot of experience with this. Don't worry, it's going to get more difficult, it's going to get more fun for some of you, but for a beginner, this is what it is. Now we're going to move the shoulders. Keep in mind, if you're ever going to introduce this routine to someone who you think needs it, do not introduce as, look, this is an easy routine, this is something that I think you can do. That would be sort of putting that person down. So you would just say, look, there's a routine, it's a great starting routine, why don't you try it? Okay, so now we're going to go with the head circles. If you notice that someone's getting dizzy, or if you're performing it yourself, somebody told you about this routine, you're getting dizzy, relax a little bit and make smaller circles. Okay, you're going to turn the head side to side. It's not uncommon if you have some kind of a tension on one side or an injury on one side, or maybe arthritis or something on one side, you might turn your head completely in one direction, just a little bit in the other direction. That's okay. Okay. Now we're simply gonna flex the body side to side just a little bit. Okay. You may want to do it very slowly and carefully if you've never done it before. Very slowly, very carefully to each side. Make sure you feel your body. If you feel any pain, of course, stop. Decrease the range of motion. This is fine too. Okay. We're going to go slightly forward and back. Slightly forward and back. Usually the forward motion is not the problem. Going back might be a problem. So contract your glutes. You may not know how to activate your abdominals, but you probably know how to activate your glutes. So contract your glutes slightly going back. Okay. Now we're going to do the hip circles. Okay, very small movement. Making circles with your hips. Okay. If this is all you can do, that's fine too. Okay. Notice the more you practice, the better you're going to get. This routine could be performed every day. If you're going to perform it every day, preferably do it at the same time, 24 hours apart, every morning or every midday, preferably before lunch, or every night. Okay, knee circles, very small circles. Most of the ElasticSteel routines and programs begin with a joint warm-up. Okay, this is a very basic joint warm-up. All we do is we bend the knees slightly and we move them around just a little bit. And that's all you can do. You would bend your knees and just move them around a little bit. Okay, if you can make a circle, make a circle. Okay, now we're going to do a foot circle. I'm going to hold on to the wall here. Okay, obviously you don't have to hold on, but for a beginner, balance may be an issue. Doing small circles here. In one direction and then the other direction. Okay, maybe this is all you can do. That is fine. As long as you have that movement going on there. Okay. Same thing on the other side. Circle. Okay, and we went through pretty much all the joints in the body. Now we're going to do a warm-up. The way we're going to do the warm-up is we're going to do a quick cardiovascular warm-up, and then right after that we're going to do the whole stance routine. Very little of it, and small range of motion, and just a few repetitions into each stance, just to warm up for the same movement, the same stances that we're going to do a little bit later. Okay, so for the cardiovascular warm-up, we can jog in place. If you can't jog in place, you can walk in place. Okay, so simply walking in place. You want to get the arm action, you can get the arm action in there. Okay, walking in place. For someone who never worked out, this is a good way to actually start. Remember, you cannot take a hard routine and force somebody to do it. You know, if you lie that person down, here's 150 pounds, let's do 10 reps, bench press. Okay, now we're going to do 10 pull-ups. You're going to lose that person. And I'm talking about people who never worked out at all or haven't worked out for a long time, or people who actually dislike working out for whatever reason. Maybe it's a problem in a gym class that they had 30, 50, whatever years ago, or maybe just something, they have pain in their joints, they're not coordinated, they don't like how it feels. This is a good place to start. Okay? Or you can jog in place. Okay, now we're going to warm up the hip joint and the knee joint a little bit more. Okay, so from standing position, we're going to lift the knees, and then we're going to do the butt kicks. Okay, so I'm doing it in the same range of motion that the beginner would do it. So we simply lift the knees a little bit. The knees don't have to come up here, simply lift them a little bit. Okay, and now you're going to do the butt kicks. May not be the butt kick because you're not going to bring your foot all the way here, slightly going to bring them back. Okay, if someone is sort of figuring out this movement, they never done it before, or they haven't done it for 50 years, slowly move one leg back, maybe even hold on to something. Okay. And the last exercise you're going to do is a squat. Okay, for the squat, all I want you to do is just bend your knees slightly and bend slightly from the hips. Okay, if you can't combine those two movements, it's fine. Just move the knees. Okay, that's all you would do. You just sort of squat down a little bit. Don't even worry about your hips, just squat down a little bit. Okay. Keep your feet flat on the floor and just go up and down. Okay, and now we're going to do a quick warm-up for the upper body. Okay, for the upper body, you're going to do wall push-ups. Push-ups on the wall. Okay, so all we're going to do here is place your hands straight on the wall and simply lean into it and come back. Okay, you don't want to go to the point of fatigue, just a few repetitions to warm up the muscles. In this range of motion, most likely the triceps are going to do more work than the chest and the shoulder, but don't worry about that, just perform that movement. Okay, I also would like for you to warm up the back of your body. Okay, for the back of your body, there's many ways of doing it. You can take two chairs and place a bar in them, or place a broomstick, providing that it's tall enough, it's not going to break. Or you can get a suspension apparatus, there's many of them, and use that. I'm going to use a little thing that I have here. Okay. And I'm going to show the most basic way to activate the flexors of your elbows and your back.